Yo, what's going on, Marvel fans? Hope everybody having a good day today. Let's go over these patch notes, these skins, and everything else. For the patch notes, we got the Vanguard. So for Vanguard, we have Captain America. It says Cap is taking a slight hit to its survivability and ultimate frequency. Now for Cap, they changed his base up from 600 to 575. They increased the delay of shield recovery from 2 seconds to 4 seconds after unleashing Living Legend, and they increased the energy cost of free charge from 2,800 to 3,100. Now for Doctor Strange. It says Stephen will receive a slight boost and damage of his standard abilities. So for his first change, it says they adjust the damage follow-up of daggers of the neck starting at 10 meters and reducing at 62.5% at 20 meters to starting at 10 meters and reducing to 80% at 20 meters. And for a second change, they remove the range damage follow-up of Maelstrom or Madness. Now for Emma Frost, it says the White Queen range is increasing, but her defenses and diamond form damage are taking their hits. Now for Emma Frost's first change, it says they increase the range of telepathic pulse from 15.5 meters to 18 meters. And for a second change, they decrease the shield value of Mind Aegis from 500 to 400. And for a third change, they increase the cooldown of Carbon Crush from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. And for the last change, they decrease the hit damage of Crystal Kick from 50 to 40, and they also decrease the extra damage dealt from propelling the enemy into the wall from 100 to 90. Now for Groot, it says they decrease the damage of Divine Strike per hit from 70 to 65, and they increase the Ironwood wall cooldown from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. Now for Magneto, it says they increase the charging speed of rings from 4 seconds a stack to 3 seconds a stack. Now for Thor, it says Thor's abilities are getting tweaked, but its survivability is taking a minor hit. Now for Thor changes, it says they adjust the hammer throw ability effect to a standard ability, and they also remove the Thor Force cost and the universal cooldown. Now, another thing they did was they adjusted the ability cooldown to 6 seconds, and it also says Thor gains 1 Thor Force from each hammer throw every hit. And it also says they decrease the shield value gained when consuming Thor Force. They adjust the bonus health gained from each Thor Force consumed from 100 to 75, and they also adjust the maximum bonus health from 200 to 150. Alright, getting to the duelists. The first one we got is Hawkeye. It says for Hawkeye, they increase the base damage of his arrow from 32 to 34. For its second change, they increase the projectile damage of Blast Arrow from 15 to 16, and they also increase the spell field damage from 32 to 34. And for his last change, they increase the maximum focus from 70 to 75, and they also increase the charging speed when aiming at an enemy from 100 per second to 108 per second. And they also change the charge follow speed from 30 per second to 32 per second. Now for Healer, it says they increase the charge capacity of a Night Sword Thorn from 8 to 10. It says they reduce the damage of Fire Cluster from 7 per hit to 6 per hit, and they decrease the charge speed of Blazing Blast from 2 seconds to 3 seconds, and they decrease the shield value gained from Flame Meter to 75 to 50, and they also increase the cooldown from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. Now for Iron Fist, it says they lower the Dragon Defense damage block bonus health conversion rate from 1.5 to 1.3, and they also decrease the maximum bonus health converted from damage block from 200 to 175, and they also slightly decrease the dash distance of Yet Ji Tong Quan in the Z-axis direction when there is no target. And for its last change, it says they reduce the Dragon Defense cooldown reduction when Jet Quan Do hits from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. Now for Iron Man, it says they remove Iron Man's Gamma Overdrive from the Gamma Charge team-up, and he gains a new team-up anchor effect from the Stark Protocol team-up. And for a second change, it says they decrease the projectile damage of his third repulsor blast from 50 to 45, and they decrease the spell field damage from 60 to 55, and they reduce armor overdrive maximum bonus health from 100 to 50. Now for Namor, it says they increase the cooldown of Blessings of the Deep from 15 seconds to 20 seconds. For its second change, it says they expand the Horn of Proteus awesome ability inner circle radius from 3 meters to 3.5 meters, and it also says they decrease the outer circle radius hit damage from 200 to 180. And for its last change, it says they adjust the monstrous spawn damage fall off starting at 20 meters, reducing to 30% at 40 meters to starting at 20 meters, reducing to 50% at 40 meters. Alright, for the next character we have Psylocke. It says they decrease the retrieval damage of wing shurikens from 14 to 12 per hit, and they also decrease the invisibility duration of psychic stuff from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Now for Squirrel Girl, it says they increase the capacity of Burst Acorn from 10 to 12, and they also decrease the cooldown of Mammal Bond from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. Now for the last change, it says they optimize the user experience of Squirrel Blockade, Tail Bounce, and Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami. Now for Star-Lord, it says they increase the energy cost of the Electric Legend from 3,100 to 3,400, and they extend the maximum target range from 30 meters to 40 meters, and they also adjust the damage fall off from reducing to 60% at 40 meters to reducing 75% at 40 meters. Now for Storm, it says for Storm, they increase the damage of Omega Hurricane from 150 per second to 160 per second. Now for our last duelist, we got a Punisher. Now for Punisher, it says They reduce the movement slow rate of final judgment from 20% to 10% when not firing, and 40% to 30% when firing. And for its last change, it says they increase the adjudication magazine size from 30 to 40, single hit damage from 18 to 19, and slightly reduced spread when firing. Alright, for our next character, we got strategies. We got the strategist Jeff the Land Shark. Now, Jeff the Land Shark has gotten a huge rework. Let's go over it. So for the first one, it says the added new effect of Jolt Flash, which now also does damage to enemies in 70 seconds and kill allies to other allies and enemies. And the damage fall off for the Jolt Splash starts at 20 meters to a maximum of 75% at 40 meters. And they also reduce the healing per second from 150 to 130. And they also changed Aqua Burst to a charge ability that makes you get his 3 charges, 3 seconds per charge. And the new effect is a direct hit, now launch enemies up, increase spell field damage from 40 to 45. And for its next change, it says they changed the effect of healing bubbles from the one-time healing to healing over time, and they also increased the healing amount from the previous instant, 85 to 120 over 4 seconds, and they reduced the max charge from 6 to 3, and they also removed the enemy launch up effect. And for its next change, it says they added new effects to hide and seek. It now has energy cap max 120 that drains by 20 per second. Now for Jeff's next change, it says it added new effects to hide and seek. It now has energy cap of 120 that drains by 20 per second while submerged and restores 15 per second when not. Now for Jeff's next change, Jeff also builds the full of healing on swallow allies, now grants him 45 health per second as a bonus health over some 150, and they also increase the damage reduction received when taking a critical hit from 50% to 7%. And for his last change, he said they increase the energy cost of Jeff's awesome ability from 4,000 to 4,500. Now for the next one we got Lunar Snow. It says they increase the light and dark ice healing amounts and damage from 20 per round to 22 per round. And for the next change, it says they added new effects to Absolute Zero, which now grants 50 bonus health per enemy hits. And for our last change, it says they increase the energy cost of Fatal Both Worlds, which is an awesome ability, from 4,500 to 5,000. Now Rocket Raccoon, it says they reduce the repair mode direct hits healing from 55 to 50. Now this patch right here feels targeted and thoughtful. It aims to make the game more strategic and less spammy. It's clear the devs are trying to narrow the gap between top tier and bottom tier picks while also writing in some outliers. But to me, what stood out was the longer cooldowns and higher ultimate costs, along with less vulnerability from shields and overheals, along with slight buffs to underused damage dealers. And the last thing that stuck out to me was the reworks and refinements to the utility roles. Now for the Vanguard changes, they're mostly healthy. For example, Captain America. See, Captain America nerfs are fair. He was able to ult too often and feel unkillable at times. The devs reduces his shield regain delay and health makes him more punishable, which is actually a good thing. Now, for Thor, his rework is way more interesting. Hammer Throw being a regular ability lets you play more fluidly, but it lost bonus health when Thor force tones down to his dueling power. With that in mind, I think that would separate Thor mains from the Thor abusers. Now for Emerald groups, Emerald group needed those changes. They were overperforming in terms of tanking while also dealing tons of damage. For example, Groot in particular was very oppressive in team fights, but in my opinion, these changes would make people use them more smartly instead of brainlessly. Now, for Doctor Strange and Magneto buffs, they feel justified. They're high skill picks and deserve to feel more rewarding. But one thing I just don't hope they make Doctor Strange powerful as he once was. Because at one point in time, I believe Doctor Strange was meta along with Loki, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Overall, for the Vanguard changes, it's good pacing and helpful for competitive team fights. No more unkillable tanks dishing out DPS levels of damage, which is a good thing. Now for duelists, these changes were needed. For example, Hawkeye finally getting some love makes me happy. He's been underwhelming unless you're cracked, and now he feels more consistent for a broader range of players. Now for Iron Fist and Torch, their nerfs were way overdue, especially Iron Fist. Iron Fist and Torch have been killing enemies with ease, even in more coordinated play. They were just too hard to punish due to mobility and self-sustain. Now for Squirrel Girl, her buffs are huge. She's gonna feel way smoother to play, which might give her a real spot in both casual and even comp. This if they do it right. And for Star-Lord and Storm, their buffs push teams towards visibility. Storm's also doing more damage, makes her feel scary if left unchecked, which means high risk, high reward. Now in my opinion, I say this is probably one of the better patches for duelists. It brings balance without killing the creativity or fun. Now for the strategy changes, I say it's ambitious but maybe a little bit too much. Now Jeff rework is bold and surprising, like I wouldn't expect Jeff to get rework. Now I love how they shifted him towards a more interactive support with new offensive tools and energy management. But this is rate of skill floor, and many casual players of Jeff might struggle now. And for Luna Snow, she feels more impactful with these feats. Bonus up on Absolute Zero makes her feel like a clutch playmaker instead of just passive healing. Now, in my opinion, Rocket's nurse feels small but targeted. He was surprisingly slippery. Overall, in my opinion, this role is like the biggest gamble of the patch. If these reworks land, they can make strategies some of the most fun, flexible roles in the game. If not, we'll see a drop in the usage of the characters. Now, in my final opinion, I think this is one of the most balanced and competitive focused patches so far. It shows the dev team is listening to player feedback and trying to push more rivals toward a healthy meta with greater pick diversity. But that's gonna be all for today. Let me know what you guys think of these patch notes, what should be improved, what should be changed. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions.